Olama sat on her bed, staring at the wall. She was 43 years old and still not married. She had prayed, fasted, cried, and even sowed seed offerings in church, but nothing happened. Every time she met a man who said he wanted to marry her, something would go wrong. Sometimes the man would just stop calling. Sometimes another woman would appear and take him away. People in her village had started talking. They said maybe Olama used her womb for money. Others said maybe she is too proud. That is why no man stays. Her three sisters, Udoka, Neka, and Amaka, were all married. They had children who called Olama Auntie Big Sister. When Neka had her third baby, she invited Olama to visit. As soon as Olama entered the house, Neka smiled and said, "Ah, big sister, see my baby boy. His name is Emmanuel." Olama stretched her hands to carry the baby, but Neka quickly said, "Ah no, please don't carry him yet. You don't know how to hold babies. You might hurt him." The words hit Olama like a heavy stone. She smiled weakly and said, "Okay, I understand." But that night, when everyone was asleep, she locked herself in the guest room and cried quietly. She cried until her eyes turned red. She had everything: a fine job as a bank manager, a big car, a beautiful house. But her life still felt empty. She looked around her room and said softly, "God, what did I do wrong? Why me?" Then she remembered what Baba, the old man in her street, had told her 2 years ago. He said, "Olama, buy one male dog and one female dog. When they have babies, your husband will come." She did exactly that. The dogs had puppies, not once, but twice, yet no man came. That night she sat alone, staring at her dogs as they played in the compound. She said to herself, maybe love is not for me. Maybe it is too late. But deep inside her heart, she still hoped that one day her story would change. It was a new year. People were shouting, "Happy New Year," everywhere. In church, Olama prayed and told God, "This year, I will stop worrying. I will just be kind and live my life." One bright morning, she dressed up for work and drove her car down a busy Lagos road. Cars were honking, traders were shouting, and the sun was hot. As she was driving, she saw an old woman standing by the roadside. The woman was holding a walking stick and trying to cross, but no one stopped for her. Olama looked at her through the car window and felt something in her heart. She parked by the side of the road and came down. "Mama, where are you going?" she asked gently. The old woman looked tired. "My daughter, I'm going to the hospital. My legs are paining me," she said softly. "Come inside the car, Mama," Olama said. "I will take you there." The old woman smiled. "Ah, thank you, my child. God will bless you." Olama helped her into the car and drove her to the hospital. She waited for her while she saw the doctor. When Mama came out, Olama said, "Let me take you home, Mama." On the way, they talked. Mama told her about her children who lived abroad. Olama told her about her work. They laughed like old friends. When they got to Mama's house, the old woman said, "My daughter, you are too kind. Please take my number. If you ever need anything, call me." Olama smiled. "And Mama, take my number too. If you have another hospital visit, call me. I will take you again." Mama held her hand and said, "God will reward you for this." "You will never lack good things." Olama drove away that afternoon with a calm heart. She didn't know that the small help she gave that morning would soon change her life forever. Weeks turned into months, and Olama and Mama became close. They spoke almost every day. Whenever Mama had a hospital appointment, Olama would drive over to pick her up. "Mama, are you ready?" Olama would shout from outside the gate. Mama would laugh and say, "My daughter, give me 1 minute, let me tie my wrapper well." They would drive off together, laughing as if they had known each other for years. Sometimes they stopped to buy roasted corn by the roadside. Sometimes they just talked about life. One day, as they sat waiting at the hospital, Mama looked at Olama and smiled. "My daughter, you remind me of my son Francis," she said softly. Olama smiled. "Mama, this Francis you always talk about, is he your favorite child?" Mama shook her head. "No, he is the stubborn one. He lives in America. I keep begging him to get married, but he always says, 'Mama, I have not found the right woman.'" Olama laughed. "Maybe he has not seen a good woman yet." Mama looked at her quietly for a moment. "You have a good heart, Olama." God will reward you one day. Maybe that day will come when you least expect it. Olama smiled and said, Amen, Mama. I just want to be happy again. They both laughed and continued talking, not knowing that their friendship was preparing the way for something greater, something that would change Olama's story forever. It was around 10 at night when Olama's phone began to ring. She was already in bed. When she looked at the screen, it was an unknown number. Hello? She said sleepily. A woman's voice spoke quickly. Please, madam, are you Olama? Mama from Golden Estate is very sick. She has been rushed to the hospital. Olama jumped up from her bed, shocked. Which hospital? She asked. St. Luke Hospital, the woman replied. Olama didn't waste time. She grabbed her car key, wore her slippers, and drove off that night. When she got to the hospital, she saw Mama lying on the bed. A drip was hanging beside her, and her eyes were closed. Mama, it's me, Olama, she said softly, holding her hand. Mama opened her eyes slowly and whispered, My daughter. You came? Yes, Mama. I am here, Olama said, fighting back tears. You will be fine. From that night, Olama stayed in the hospital with Mama. She didn't go to work for 3 days. She brought food, cleaned Mama's hands, and prayed beside her bed. The nurses began to call her Mama's daughter. One nurse even said, You must really love your mother. Olama smiled and said, She is like a mother to me. On the 3rd day, Mama was strong enough to talk. She held Olama's hand and said, My daughter, may God bless you. You have done what my own children could not do. You are truly an angel. Just then, Mama's phone started ringing. Olama picked it up. The name on the screen said Francis. Mama, your son is calling, Olama said. Mama smiled weakly. Please answer for me. Olama picked the call and said, Hello, good evening. A deep male voice replied, Good evening. Please, who is this? I'm trying to reach my mother. Mama is here with me in the hospital, Olama said. She is getting better. The man was silent for a few seconds. Then he said softly, You are not her nurse. No, I'm her friend, Olama said. The man's voice became calm. God bless you. Thank you for staying with her. Please tell her I love her. I will, Olama said, smiling a little. When the call ended, she looked at Mama and said, Your son sounds like a good man. Mama smiled. Yes, he is. One day, you will meet him. Olama looked at her and laughed. Maybe. But deep inside her heart, she felt something strange, like her life had just opened a new door. The hospital room was quiet that evening. Mama was asleep, her face calm. Olama sat beside her bed, watching the drip go down slowly when Mama's phone began to ring. She looked at the screen. The name showed, Francis, my son. Olama smiled and picked up. Hello, Mama. How are you? A man's deep and kind voice said from the phone. Olama spoke softly. Good evening, sir. Mama is sleeping. She's getting better now. The voice was silent for a short time. Then he asked, You are not her nurse? Olama shook her head, even though he could not see her. No, I'm her friend. I just came to stay with her. There was a gentle laugh from the other end. Her friend? You stayed with her in the hospital. God bless you. You have a good heart. Olama smiled. Thank you, sir. Mama is really a sweet woman, Francis said. Yes, she is. Please, when she wakes up, tell her that I love her and I will call again. I will tell her, Olama replied softly. After the call ended, Olama sat quietly. Her heart began to beat in a strange way. The voice she heard was calm and warm. It felt close, too close for someone she had never seen before. She tried to sleep that night but couldn't. She turned on her bed and whispered, Why does this man's voice sound like peace? She didn't know that the small call that night had just opened a big door in her life. Days later, Mama got better and was discharged from the hospital. Olama helped her pack her things, held her hand carefully, and took her home. As they drove through the quiet road, Mama smiled and said, My daughter, you have a big heart. You know my son Francis is too picky when it comes to women. Maybe you can talk some sense into him. Olama laughed. Mama, me? What will I even tell him? Mama chuckled. Tell him to stop searching far away when good people are near. They both laughed, and the car was filled with joy. But deep down, Mama was thinking about something. That night, she picked her phone and sent a message to her son, Francis. I met a good woman. Her name is Olama. She is kind and has a clean heart. Call her. You will thank me later. Francis smiled when he saw the message. He took her number, stared at it for a long time, then finally dialed. Hello, is this Olama? His voice came again, calm and deep. Olama smiled. Yes, it's me. How are you, Francis? I'm fine. Mama told me so much about you. I just wanted to say thank you for all you did for her. It's nothing. She's like a mother to me, Olama said. They talked that evening for a long time, about work, about life in America, about food, about everything. It felt like they had known each other before. From that day, they spoke every night. Sometimes about serious things, sometimes about funny things. Olama would laugh so hard that her cheeks hurt. One night, Francis said, Olama, I don't know why, but I feel something strong in my heart. I think I've found what I've been looking for. Olama's hand shook a little. She didn't say anything. She only smiled and whispered, maybe God is planning something we don't understand yet. But in her heart, she felt a soft warmth like love knocking quietly at her door. Months went by fast. Olama and Francis talked every day, morning and night. They laughed, prayed, and shared stories about their lives. Slowly, Olama's heart began to open again. One morning, Mama called her with excitement. My daughter Francis is coming home next week for his holiday. Olama froze. Mama, really? He didn't tell me. Mama smiled over the phone. He wanted to surprise you. Now get ready. You will follow me to the airport. The day finally came. The sun was bright and the airport was busy. People were moving here and there with bags and smiles. Olama stood beside Mama, her heart beating fast. Then she saw him. Francis walked toward them, tall and gentle, with a calm smile. He looked even better than she imagined. Mama, he called, hugging his mother tightly. Then he turned to Olama and said softly, So you are the angel that cared for my mother. Olama smiled shyly. Welcome home, Francis. From that day, they spent time together. Francis visited Mama every morning, and Olama always joined them. They cooked, laughed, and talked for hours. Sometimes Francis would help Olama wash dishes, and Mama would tease them. You two look good together. One evening, Francis took Olama to a small garden near the house. The wind was cool, and the sky was full of stars. He looked at her and said, Olama, I don't want to waste time. I know what I want. Olama looked surprised. What do you mean? He held her hand gently. I want you. Will you marry me? Her mouth opened in shock. Me? At my age? Francis smiled, his eyes warm. Yes, you. You are the woman I prayed for. You are kind, strong, and full of peace. I don't care about age. I care about heart. Tears rolled down Olama's face. She whispered, Francis, are you sure? I've never been more sure, he said, still holding her hand. That night, when she got home, Olama fell on her knees and said, God, after all my tears, you still remembered me. The wedding day came like a dream. The whole village of Umuaka was filled with music and laughter. Drums sounded, women danced, and children ran around shouting, Olama is getting married. Olama wore a simple white gown with gold beads around her neck. Mama sat proudly in the front row, smiling from ear to ear. Francis's brother Patrick flew in from America with his family. When he saw Olama, he said, Brother, you truly found a queen. Olama's sisters stood together, whispering. Neka said quietly, So big sister is finally married. Udoka replied, God truly works in his own time. When Olama said her vows, her voice shook. Francis, I never knew love would find me again. You are God's gift to me. Francis held her hand and said, From today I will stand by you forever. The crowd shouted with joy. Drummers beat louder. Mama's eyes were full of tears, happy tears. After the wedding, everyone danced. Food filled the tables and laughter filled the air. People said, This is truly a marriage from heaven. A few days later, Francis told Olama, My love, I must go back to America to arrange your papers. It will only take 3 months. Olama nodded. I'll wait for you, Francis. He kissed her hand and promised, Soon we'll be together again. But 3 months passed, then 6, then 1 full year. No letter, no flight ticket, no call from the embassy. Every night, Olama sat by her window, staring at the stars and whispering, "Francis, did you forget me?" Mama tried to comfort her, but even she started to worry. Something was not right, and deep in her heart, Olama began to fear that her joy might be tested again. Weeks passed. Olama waited for Francis, but the calls became fewer. Messages were slow. His once warm voice on the phone now came only once in a while. Mama noticed her sadness. She said softly, "Olama, don't worry. Maybe he is busy. Sometimes men have many things to do." Olama tried to smile, but her heart was heavy. Every day she checked her phone, hoping for a call or a message. Then one afternoon, a message came from an unknown number. Olama opened it. Her hands shook as she read, "Madam, do you know Francis is married here in America?" Olama dropped her phone. Her heart skipped. She picked it up and called Mama immediately. "Mama!" she shouted. "Someone just said Francis is married." There was silence on the other end. Then Mama's voice came, slow and serious. "My daughter, please come to the house tomorrow. There is something I need to tell you." Olama's stomach turned. "Mama, what is it?" "Please, just tell me now." Mama said nothing. She only sighed deeply. That night, Olama could not sleep. Questions raced through her mind. Why would someone say that? Did Francis betray her? Was everything they shared a lie? She stared at the ceiling and whispered, "God, what is happening? What is—" The next morning, Olama drove straight to Mama's house. Her hands gripped the steering wheel tightly and her heart pounded. Mama was sitting outside on the veranda, wrapped in her shawl. Her face was pale and her eyes were wet. "Sit down, my daughter," she said softly. Olama sat, her voice trembling. "Mama, tell me the truth. Is Francis married?" Mama sighed and looked at the ground. Then she looked up, her eyes meeting Olama's. "It's not what you think, my daughter. Francis didn't marry for love. He married someone to get papers." Olama's mouth opened in shock. "What? Why?" Mama took her hand. "He never wanted to hurt you. But he had reasons, pressures from work, pressures from his family." Olama shook her head. "Mama, I don't understand. He promised me. He said he loved me." Mama's voice became gentle but serious. "I know, my daughter. But there is something else. Something I never told you about the day you met me on the road." Olama leaned forward, her eyes wide. "What is it, Mama?" Mama's hands trembled as she held Olama's. "You were not meant to meet me by chance. That day, someone sent you to me. Someone wanted your life to change." Olama's heart skipped a beat. "Sent me? Who, Mama? Who sent me?" Mama looked far away, as if seeing something no one else could see. "I cannot tell you yet, but your life is about to change in ways you cannot imagine." Olama felt a cold shiver run down her spine. She looked at Mama and whispered, "Change? How, Mama? Please tell me." Mama only shook her head slowly. "Soon, my daughter. Soon." And in that moment, Olama realized that everything she thought she knew about love, life, and destiny was about to be turned upside down. The wind blew softly, carrying a quiet warning that her journey had only just begun. Days passed, and Olama could not stop thinking about what Mama said. Every morning, she woke up with a heavy heart. At night, she prayed on her knees, "God, if Francis is truly mine, please let everything be clear." She couldn't eat well, and even her workers at the bank noticed. "Madam, you don't look happy," one of them said. She only smiled and replied, "I'm fine." But she was not fine. Then one morning, her phone rang. It was Mama. "My daughter," Mama said softly, "Francis called me. He said you are worried." Olama's voice shook. "Mama, I don't know what to believe anymore. Someone sent me a message saying he is married." It broke me. Mama sighed deeply. "My child, that message was from his ex. She is only jealous because Francis left her long ago. That woman is bitter. She does not want to see him happy. Francis loves you, Olama. He told me himself that he has already applied for your papers to come over. He is waiting for you." Olama's eyes filled with tears. "Mama, are you sure? I don't want to hope again and get hurt." Mama smiled gently. I raised that boy with my own hands. I know when he means something. You are his peace, my daughter. You are the answer to my prayers for him. Just then, Olama's phone began to ring again. She looked at the screen. It was Francis. Her hands trembled as she picked up the call. Francis, she whispered, is it true? Francis's voice came calm and full of love. Yes, my love. It's true. I'm sorry I made you worry. I didn't want to tell you until everything was ready. I want you here with me. I have missed you every single day. Tears rolled down Olama's cheeks. Francis, I never stopped believing in you. I know, he said softly. That's why I love you. You stood by me even when things looked strange. Please, start getting ready. Your visa will soon be ready. I can't wait to see you at the airport. Olama covered her mouth as more tears fell, this time tears of joy. Thank you, Francis. You don't know what this means to me. That night, she danced alone in her room, singing softly, Thank you, Lord. My waiting is not in vain. Mama called later and said, You see, my daughter, good things sometimes come through pain. You met me that day for a reason, Olama smiled, wiping her tears. Mama, I now understand. That single act of kindness changed my whole life. She slept peacefully that night, her heart full of hope once again. 3 months later, the big day finally came. Olama sat on the plane, her hands holding tightly to her bag. She looked out of the window and whispered, God, thank you. I am going to meet my husband. When the plane landed, her heart beat fast. She walked through the airport gate, looking around. Then she saw him, Francis, standing tall with a big smile, holding a bouquet of red roses and a gift bag. He ran to her and hugged her tightly. Welcome home, my wife, he said, his eyes shining with love. Olama laughed as tears rolled down her face. Home. Finally, she said softly. From that day, their love grew stronger. They cooked together, went out on walks, and prayed together every night. Francis often told her, You are my answered prayer, Olama. Months later, a call came from Nigeria. It was her sister, Udoka. Big sister, she shouted with excitement. We heard the news. Twins. Olama smiled over the phone. Yes, 2 boys. God gave me double for all my tears. Even Neka, who once mocked her, called quietly, Sister, I'm proud of you. Your story gives me hope. When the babies were born, Mama flew from Nigeria to stay with them. She held the twins in her arms and smiled. My daughter, she said softly, this is what happens when you show kindness without expecting anything back. Olama looked at her sons and whispered, Everything changed the day I stopped my car to help you, Mama. That one act opened the door to my destiny. Mama nodded with tears in her eyes. Yes, my daughter. Sometimes blessings hide behind small acts. The camera of life had turned from pain to joy, from mockery to honor, from tears to laughter. Olama's story reminds us that no matter how dark the night feels, joy always comes in the morning. When you choose kindness and keep your faith, destiny will always find you. If this story touched your heart, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment with Faith Wins, and share it to inspire someone today. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell for more powerful, emotional, and life-changing stories every week.